Hello everyone and welcome back to SimRacingOnline. This is the final round of the TC Legends Classic Touring Car Championship and we have a very fast circuit to compete on today. This is the Tor Poznan circuit in the Poznan region of Poland, and as I said, it is going to be the final round of the championship. The championship is actually still alive, so we are still having a fight for the overall honours. Currently it's Laurent Lunds leading the championship, but also in contention Lorenzo Galuzzi, only 13 points off him. That is still it's going to be difficult for Galuzzi to win, but it is still definitely possible. And then outside shots are Kirill Kirilov and Shaba Lako, although it will be almost a miracle if they are to win it today, as Lunds is quite a way ahead of them on 153 points. But anyway, we're currently in qualifying for this Poznan event, and we're watching Johnny Gutierrez heading around the circuit in a Mazda RX-3. Gutierrez, of course, was second at the Mexico City circuit, and hasn't made that many rounds to this championship. In fact, this is only his third, but he is going for his second podium of the series. And we're watching him as he's heading through what is the second sector of the course-ish, towards some fast sweeping corners, a right and then a left. I had a big crash here at this left-hander in the first race I did at this race. It's difficult, and you need to make sure not to take too much curb. This corner here is even trickier, as you have a curved braking zone over a crest, over a bump and a curb, making it very, very difficult indeed. And then there's a gravel trap waiting for you on the outside. The final corner is extremely fast. Now, it won't be flat out in these cars. You can see him dipping down as he touches the brakes a bit, but it's still an extremely fast corner, and he completes his lap with a 1:54.086. So that is the first time set. Let's have a look at some of the other drivers. Jari Lakinen's just heading out of the pits. Phil Brown has an MGB GT. I always say it looks like it has a mustache. Very British looking vehicle here. And he has just navigated turn 1. Lots of grass on the outside, no runoff area, so you need to make sure you don't make a mistake, otherwise you're going to be straight off towards the undergrowth. And there is a rather nasty grass bank on the outside that you can very easily launch off if you get things wrong there. But everything going okay for Phil Brown so far. Here's Laurent Lunds, the championship leader, wanting to seal the championship today. If he wants to be sure of winning the championship, he needs to finish in the top 5, so that's what his aim is going to be. If he finishes 6th and Lorenzo Galuzzi wins, then the championship will go Galuzzi's way. So Lunds needs to finish in the top 5. Well, doesn't necessarily need to win to finish in the top 5, because if he's 8th and Galuzzi is 2nd, or if he's 9th and Galuzzi is 3rd, then he wins it. Now, that sounds a little it sounds like something would have to go very wrong with Lunds for Galuzzi to actually win the championship. However, if you remember back at Mexico, the round that Galuzzi won, Lunds was only 5th on that day, so all he would need to have is that race, but slightly, ever so slightly worse, and Galuzzi would win the championship. So it's still open, and yeah, it's going to be difficult to beat Lunds, and it may be that he'll need to make a mistake, but Laurent still will be hoping for a top 5 finish, because that will seal the deal for him. Around the final corner he comes, up to complete his first time qualifying lap, as Phil Brown goes 2nd there, and Lunds completes the lap. It's 3rd, 1:53.673. Less than a tenth of a second off Brown, so he can definitely gain that time, I expect. There's Jari Lakinen in another of the BMW 2002s. Phil Brown and Johnny Gutierrez we've already seen. Here's Lorenzo Galuzzi, the other championship contender, in the number 1 there, aiming for number 1. The Toyota 2000 GT. Very strange looking car, but anyway, it's obviously doing the job for him, despite being from the 60s rather than the 70s like some of these other cars are. He's actually He's the top car from the 60s in the championship, so at least he'll have that distinction even if he doesn't win overall today. And really, he's been one of the drivers of this series so far. Only one win, of course, although there's only one driver in this field who's won. Actually, no, all 5 rounds have been won by different drivers, so it's one win to Galuzzi, to Kirill Kirilov, Tony Talviti, who is currently on provisional pole position, and Jeffrey Ruskas, who's not here, as well as Ted Ho, who I think is here, although I don't think I've seen a lap from him yet. Galuzzi across the line, stays 4th with that one, so lost a couple of tenths per second. Apologies if you can hear my dog in the background as Kimi Madskanin goes off. My dog is a little upset right now because no one's paying him any attention. I'm commentating, my mum's out, so yeah, not a happy doggy. But anyway, Kimi Madskanin, of course, in the Mercedes that we just saw, notable for really shaking up the race at Mexico City. And that was a legendary race. Honestly, if you didn't see that one, I would suggest watching that after this. It's still archived on YouTube, and probably will be for, well, possibly forever. So you can always go back and watch it. And I would definitely advise doing so because it was a wonderful race. Johnny Gutierrez has gone up into 3rd position. He has demoted Laurent Lons there. Less than a tenth of a second in it, but still, that's a place nonetheless. And Mark Johnson has now gone to 4th place as well. So with 6.5 minutes to go in quali, it is Talviti leading by over half a second. That's an impressive lap time there from Tony Talviti, followed by Phil Brown, Johnny Gutierrez, Mark Johnson, and Laurent Lons, top 5. Here's Michal Mazurek in one of the Alfa Romeo GTAs, which has been struggling this season. Michal Mazurek only 10th in the championship, despite being a much better driver than that, from what I've experienced. Of course, Mazurek, one of the top single-seater drivers in SimRacingOnline history. And coming through to complete a lap. Let's see if he can get himself into at least the top 15. Sorry about that, just had to mute myself so I could sneeze. I think I'm going to sneeze again, actually. Okay, I did. Anyway, Mazurek's lap put him... Oh, it didn't get him into the top 15. In fact, I think it may have even been an outlap because it wasn't very quick at all. Here's Maxime Tendel in an Austin Healey. The Austin Healey, another very British-looking car. From the 1960s. Of course, it was originally designed in the 1950s, or at least it was based on a 1950s design, and you can tell that by the shape of it. Possibly closest thing to a sports car you have in this field, unless you count the Porsches, which, to be honest, I probably would. And Tendil is currently 15th in the order. Sid Drake, BMW. Tony Talviti is currently our provisional pole sitter. And Galuzzi's brought in the gap looking at the times, but yeah, Talviti provisional pole sitter with a 152.962. Won't be beating it with this lap. This looks like an outlap to me. Potentially. It's going to be a few seconds down when he crosses the line, so yeah, I think that's pretty obviously an outlap, or a lap where he made a mistake or something like that. But let's watch how it's done from... let's go on board Tony Talviti and watch his hand movements as well. A lot of understeer through turn 1 there, very, very wide. I think that's going to cost him some time. Got a purple subsector there in subsector 3, but then drop back a little after that. So I'm not sure if this is going to be a quicker lap, but let's keep watching it just in case. They have a tight left-hander after that. Now this corner is difficult, because at first glance it looks a lot tighter, or sorry, a lot less tight than it actually is. And if you get the exit right, it really sets you up for this run up the hill. Now there's an awkward bump right as you start to brake here. There it is, it's kind of a crest. And this is the tightest corner on the circuit. Then you head through some sweepers. Oh, and that's a spin, and yeah, Talviti's going into the wall with that one. He will still be able to make it back to the pits, I expect, but that is that lap done. And I suppose that's my fault for saying, let's watch how it's done. Here's Shabalaka in a Ford Escort. We do have a couple of Ford Escorts here today. Another one I expect will be John van der Geest in that really beautiful rusty Ford Escort. Paul Anstey, Toyota 2000 GT. And I think that's it. I'm not sure that I'm missing any other cars that are in this field. But if I see any, then I will be sure to mention them. I'm trying to find someone who is actually on a lap right now. Why is it just switching between Van der Geest and... Never mind. Yeah, Lackinen going on to a lap. Let's watch Laurent Lons, championship leader. P7 in the order currently. He's been dropped down since his first qualifying lap. I won't like the look of that one, because if they were to finish like they stand in qualifying right now, then Lons would still be champion, but it would be really, really close, and he would only need to lose one position for Galuzzi to wrap it up. So it would actually be quite a tight contest as far as the championship goes. And that, I'm sure, is why he is trying so hard to improve on his lap time. This is very important, actually. Oh, and he's in the grass! Now, he will get time for another lap, so if this lap is ruined, it doesn't matter too much, so long as he has enough fuel and tyres for another quick one. But if he doesn't, he may have to start right on the buffer of, you know, winning the championship or not winning the championship. So this is quite tense from Lons, and he overdrives it again there through the left-hander. Easy to do, especially when you're under so much pressure. Now, I was expecting Lons to finish off the season with a victory, because you rarely see a champion not winning a race, and Lons, I'm sure, will be quite desperate to prove that he's got more than just consistency today. So let's see what he can do with this next lap. This could be the most important lap of the entire championship. Laurent Lons through turn 1. Hooks it over the curb. Galuzzi instantly is in the pit, so he will not be going any quicker, and he is at risk of being demoted by Johnson, Brown, or maybe others. Lons through the little kinks towards a left-hander and out towards the difficult second left-hander of the course, or second real left-hander of the course. The one that I said looks a lot less tight than it actually is, and then you get a little caught off guard on the exit. The checkered flag will be showing to drivers crossing the line this time out, so keep an eye on the timing board, see if anything changes. Lons keeps it on the tarmac this time around, that's important. This is looking clean from Lons so far. Into the third sector. And he just has a few more corners to go, but they are difficult ones, before he completes this flying lap. Possibly a little touch of the grass there, but it won't affect him too much. That wasn't too bad. Now, that half a second down thing on the right, I don't know if that was to his lap or to the leader's lap. If it's to the leader's lap, it's not too bad, because Talviti is so far ahead of him. But if it's to his own lap, then this could be very dramatic indeed. Here we go through the final corner. The number 46, Laurent Lons. What is the lap? He crosses the line. Currently P7. And stays P7. So Lons is right in the danger zone of losing the championship. Galuzzi, it looks like, will start second. And if he does finish second at the end of all of this, Lons needs to finish 7th or better to win the championship, and he starts 7th. This is setting up a really exciting championship finale here. Now, who is it we're still waiting for to finish their lap? Sid Drake, maybe? Will Anstey maybe? Well, Mertikainen's coming into the pits there in the massive Mercedes. Drake across the line. No improvement for... Well, actually he did improve, but stayed in his position. So that's that for qualifying. It's going to be Tony Talviti on pole by 0.3 of a second from Lorenzo Galuzzi, who does stand a very real chance of winning the championship today. But he needs for Lons to struggle to come through the pack, or maybe get involved in an incident or something like that. Mark Johnson will start third. Then it's Phil Brown, Johnny Gutierrez, Shaba Lake. Lauren Lons has a lot to do from P7 there. Mainly, he just needs to make sure he doesn't go backwards, but he's at risk. Max Shepard P8 there, and I still don't know why the flag is Belgian, since I can tell you that Max Shepard is definitely Scottish. But anyway, Mariusz Lebioda is P9. Then it's Paul Anstey, John van der Geest, Michal Majerek, Sid Drake, Paul Upham, Maxim Tendel, Kimi Martikainen, and Jari Lakkinen. 17 drivers today, so we don't have Ted Ho, I'm afraid, which is a shame, because he, very fast in this championship, has a 100% podium streak coming into this round. But yeah, it doesn't look like he will be racing. But anyway. But, and also apparently Stefan Lagodin was trying to join the race today, but was having some sort of checksum error. And as a result will not be able to start. But anyway. So, that is the starting order as we prepare for the start of the race. I'm just going to quickly scroll through and see if there are any cars that I didn't show you. Nope, I think I showed you them all. All 17 of them. Don't think we saw much of Max Shepard in qualifying, but I'm sure you'll be seeing more of her in the race. So here we go, just a few seconds to go now until the race begins. The session about to take over, and then we're going to get the countdown. 1 minute countdown for the race. So just to remind you, it's Talviti alongside Galuzzi, and Johnson and Brown behind them. Talviti is in the Porsche that you will see at the front, obscured a little by a post, but you know, there we go. That is a much better view. Beautiful car, that Porsche. It's 2 followed by 1, which is a little frustrating, but anyway, that is a classic 60s, 70s style sports car racing shot there. And we prepare for the start of the race here at Poznan. Watch for the lights. There are going to be 6 red lights, which you see right in the middle of your screen. And when they go out, the race will be underway. And I'll have to dump my car quickly into the pits. But anyway, here we go. 5, 6, and it's go! So Talviti makes a launch, and away they head for the start of the race. Looks like, is that Johnson coming through on the outside in the yellow Porsche? Looks like he might be able to get up to second here. He's on the outside into turn 1. Galuzzi on the defence, manages to keep second, that's important. Lons is down to 8th. So Galuzzi is Lons is down to 9th, so Galuzzi is in championship winning contention, championship winning position in the early stages of this race. There's Lons right in the middle of the pack. There's cars side by side ahead of him. Whoa, someone's going off. I think that's Max Shepard. Yep, Shepard in the wall there. We're side by side with, I think, Michal Majerek, and just got bounced. Oh, and Martikainen's gone for a spin. And I think Anstey was involved in that. Tendel was involved in that as well. So a couple of incidents there. Lons is P12 and all of that. He's being shown the outside lane. Galuzzi is P2 with Johnson all over the back of him. Talviti already getting away. Look at Lebioda going up to P3. This is the highest that he's run all season. I think Johnson made a little mistake there. Lebioda on the outside gets the move done. Nicely stuck. Towards the last sector of lap 1. What can Johnson do about getting Lebioda back? So far in this championship, it seemed that the the Porsche has been significantly faster than the Alpha. But is that going to be the case today? Take a look there. But not quite enough room. Out towards the last corner of the first lap. Lons has made a move. He's up to P12. There you see him in the background in that orange BMW. Anstey has had another incident, another collision. Lons avoids. And that is with Paul Upham. Now I didn't exactly see how that happened. Looked like Upham may have tagged the back of Anstey. My apologies if that wasn't the case, but that's just kind of how it looked to me. And Johnson, I think, is side by side with Lebioda, but Lebioda has got back through. But anyway, yeah, collision between Anstey and Upham, and that wasn't a particularly clean first lap, I have to say. There was an incident at the start between Shepherd and someone else, and then another one at the following corner involving a bunch of cars. So at the end of the first lap, Talviti followed by Galuzzi, Lebioda, and then Johnson, with Johnson all over the back of the aforementioned Alpha driver. Gutierrez 5th, then it's Lacko, Brown, Mazurek, Van der Geest, and Luns, Laurent Luns, only in P10 and out of championship winning position. Johnson now is... Oh, what's happened to Lebioda? Oh, Lebioda's had a spin. No, I didn't see that because I was looking away. But, yeah, I can see on the immediate live stream replay that Lebioda just lost control. And around he went. Now, I'm not sure that he hit anything, but... he is now dropped down into 12th position, so that's another place gained for Lons. He's 3 wide with Shepherd and Drake. They're going either side of Drake. Oh, banging doors with Shepherd. I think just about getting through that. Now running wide again, is he? Shepherd still on his inside for P11 on a recovery drive. And, yeah, Shepherd back through to P11. I wonder if I can have a look back at that starting incident to see if I could see what happened. Well, I think the Max Shepherd incident was indeed with Mihail Mazurek, although I didn't see exactly how that was caused, and I also didn't see what happened at the next corner. But anyway, I presume it was just a case of 17 into 1 doesn't go, as you tend to see on first laps. But anyway. So, the end of another lap. Talviti is already building a pretty sizable lead. 2.9 seconds. Johnson versus Gutierrez is now at the fight for third. Versus Lacko versus Brown. Luns is 9th. Paul Upham, I think, has just had another off at the same corner. So Upham really not liking that corner. Let's see if there's any damage on his car. His steering appears relatively straight. I don't know if it is a bit bent. Anstey in the pits. Did those two come together again? I hope they didn't. Actually, I think Anstey may be giving himself a drive-through. Anyway, back onto the road goes Anstey. Yeah, that looked like a self-given drive-through there, which is very sporting if that is the case. Oh, wide goes Shepherd again. And through goes Lebioda. Yes, he does. So Lebioda trying to make a recovery drive of his own after that spin. But that spin will still probably cost him his best chance for podium finish of this season. Lebioda really hasn't been having a good year. He's 21st in the championship despite making every round but one. Goodness me. Yeah, he's been struggling this year, I'm afraid. But anyway, continues in this race, and he's now got to show us that he's got more pace than he's shown. He was pretty quick in the F1 1991 series that we did not too long ago. I remember racing him in that and being impressed, but hasn't had quite the same kind of fortune in these classic touring cars. Mark Johnson's just set the first lap of the race, and he goes for a move on the inside of Lorenzo Galuzzi. Galuzzi leaves him space, knows that he doesn't want to risk anything too much. Now, does Johnson get the place? If he does, that puts Lons back into championship winning potential. Actually, no, it doesn't, because if Galuzzi's third with Lons 9th, that's still Galuzzi's championship. But yeah, Johnson is up into P2 now. Mark Johnson second, Lorenzo Galuzzi third, and Johnny Gutierrez right on the tail of them as well. Johnny Gutierrez could really spoil Galuzzi's party here. Lebioda and Shepard are swapping places a lot, aren't they? Having their own little tussle there over P11. Back and forth and back and forth. Shepard's just been getting no luck this year, I'm afraid. Neither is Lebioda. This season, rather, since it's not a yearly thing, or an annual thing, but anyway. Lock up. Oh, and who's that going sideways? Lackinen there, going sideways ahead of them. Just about getting away with it, holding P10. I don't think Lackinen's got a P10 yet this year, so he will, or this season, so he would very much appreciate this if he was able to get it. Average finishing position of 17.75. Now he's going to beat that today since there are only 17 cars in the race, but still, yeah, not a great season for him. Oh, and that's how is he driving at that sideways all the time? Goodness me, that can't be very safe. Of course, I know we've seen other drivers like Tim Muttram do it in the past, but yeah, that's quite something there from Lackinen. Good car control. But he's going to be well and truly under pressure from Lebioda on the exit here, and possibly Max Shepard as well. Slipstream not too effective in these cars, but they're going for it anyway. Shepard to the outside of Lebioda. Lebioda taking a look. He knows it's attack or be attacked. And Lackinen leaves the door open, and Shepard almost makes it 3 wide there. Goodness, I think it was temporarily 3 wide. I think Lebioda is going to come out ahead of them in this. So that was good racing there from Lebioda. Lackinen needs to make sure he doesn't kick out the tail too much into this corner. There's a car alongside him. Little twitch, but Shepard's still on the outside. Fends him off, does Lackinen. Good defensive driving there. This is probably the best I've seen him race so far this season. Shepard coming through on the exit. On the inside, identical machinery. It's just up to their braking power and their bravery here. And Lackinen wins it for the time being. Yeah, Shepard has to concede that one because the next corner is a very fast left-hander, very single file. Followed by an equally single file right-hander. Through the fast S's. Couple of actually I'm not sure if any of these drivers did it, but there was a SimRacingOnline race held at the circuit only a few days ago with the R-Factor 2 McGann series. Just trying to remember if any of these guys were in it. I don't think they were. I was, and I threw away the win. Spun several times after taking pole by half a second. Wasn't very happy about it, but you know, these things happen. I'm sure some of these drivers would have raced the circuit before anyway. The circuit, Shepard goes for a move on Lackinen again. And I think makes it stick this time. Yes, he does. So Shepard, or yes, she does, sorry. So yes, Shepard goes up the inside, goes through into P11. And demotes Jari Lackinen. As I was going to say, the circuit, a very kind of old-fashioned style one, but it's still like this nowadays. Lackinen taking another look. Sid Drake going a little wide behind them as well. And looks like Shepard now has 11th, Lackinen 12th, Lebioda up to 10th in that little scrap there. That was exciting. One thing to keep in mind is that we do have a pit stop cycle coming up. Every driver must make a mandatory pit stop to change all 4 tyres, and if they don't, they get disqualified. Some of these cars may theoretically be able to make it to the end without a pit stop, but that doesn't matter because, as I said, pit stops are mandatory anyway, and you must change all 4 tyres. So that could shake up the order depending on when they come in, how much traffic they have on their in laps, on their out laps, how much they can benefit from the new tyres or wring out of the old ones. And I'm not sure if any of these cars refuel, maybe some of them do, but that might play into things as well. It's a shame that the diversity of the cars kind of got a little bit less as the season went on. Of course, when the season started, we had Ford Fairlane, Ford Mustangs, a Hillman Imp. Pretty sure I'm missing a couple with oh yeah, Datsun 510, even a Lotus Cortina at one point as well. Sadly, all of those cars disappeared from the order, mainly because they weren't very competitive. But whatever the case, it's still been an absolutely fantastic series with so much diversity in terms of the cars, which just makes it all the better, all the more visually pleasing, and all the more spectacular. Hello to Stefan Lagoda in the YouTube chat. Shame you couldn't race with us today, but he says go 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 Jonzo. Which one's Jonzo again? Sorry if I'm missing something really obvious. Is that Mark Johnson? Sorry, I'm probably sounding really really unknowledgeable here, but anyway. So, Talviti now leading by 4 seconds. He has controlled this race so far. And we're looking at the fight for 7th between Mazurek, Van der Geest and Luns. And the reason I'm looking at this fight is because not only is it a strong battle going on inside the top 10, it could also decide the championship depending on how Luns comes out of it. But we shall see. Now, if they were to finish like this, with Galuzzi 3rd and Luns 9th, they would finish on exactly the same number of points, I think, if I'm calculating that correctly. But I'm pretty sure the championship is decided then on, well, it's either most wins or average position. I think it's most wins, in which case that would go to Lorenzo Galuzzi. If it was average position, it might still go to Luns. I kind of hope they don't finish in these positions, because that would leave a little bit of uncertainty over it. But anyway, there's still plenty of time for things to change in this race. We're not even a quarter of the way through yet. And that just adds to the excitement of this wonderful, wonderful championship finale. It's been a great championship this whole way through. We've had 31 different drivers taking part at various points in the season. Not all of them, all the rounds, but you know, a lot of them made a lot of them. And as I've already said, we've had 5 different winners in multiple different types of car as well. No one has scored more than 2 podiums, which shows just how competitive and up and down it's been for everyone in this field. And it's been mainly down to consistency out of those who have made every event. Shout out to the drivers who have made every event. Actually, John Van der Geest is one. We've been looking at it, we are looking at him right now. Shaba Lako is another one. He is 4th in the championship, although 5th on the road. Actually getting a lot closer to Johnny Gutierrez now, so something could still change there in that fight. I'll take a look if it looks like it's going to, but yeah, that's a very quick lap from Lako as well. You can see them just up there in the distance. I just want to watch this fight heading down into turn 1. John Van der Geest to the inside of Mazurek. Leaves his braking later, makes it stick. Van der Geest is through into 7th. Mazurek going for the switchback, has found himself back on the inside. And this will be a great comeback if he pulls it off. A great undercut! Oh my god! And they've come together. And Mazurek is on the grass. And Luns is back into championship winning potential, contention. If he makes this move, is he going to touch with Van der Geest? Well, that was close. He's going to get them both. So Luns is up into P7. If he's to finish there, Galuzzi needs to win to keep, or to win the championship. So that is a very important move, and Van der Geest gives the place back to Mazurek, so he feels that he was to blame for that little touch there. looking back at the replay, it appears they both kind of came across on each other a little. Although, you know, respect to Van der Geest for giving up that place since he felt that it was his fault. But anyway, that does mean that Lons is in a much more comfortable position now. Not hugely comfortable because he's still got Masharek and Van der Geest on his tail, but more comfortable than before, certainly. Lacquer gets a much better exit than Gutierrez there. He's on the inside, and I think Lacquer's just gone up to 4th. Yes, he has, so I don't think Gutierrez got a very good entry to that corner. Didn't really set him up well for the exit either. And Lacquer takes 4th position. Now, I was in the act of saying which drivers have made every round of the championship. Of course, Lacquer is one of them. Michal Mazurek, another. Kimi Martikainen always turns up with that huge, beautiful Mercedes. Definitely a crowd favourite. Bill Grewcock had made every round, although he isn't here today, I'm afraid. Lauren Lons, of course, has made every round. That's why he's leading the championship at the minute. Sid Drake as well hasn't had the best of luck, but has stuck with it. So hats off to Sid. I think he changed over from the latest Cortina to the BMW 2002 actually, as Martikainen's in the pits. So I think there's been an incident there, because that's a little too early for a scheduled pit stop, I think. Unless it isn't, because he's got going again fairly quickly. So I may have got that wrong. Look at that, the gap for the lead has come down by about 3 or so seconds. Did Talviti have a spin or something? Because the gap is now just 1.5 seconds when it was out to about maybe 4 or 5. Yeah, looks like Talviti just suddenly lost a lot of time there. So maybe the lead scrap is still on. Johnson now within a second of him, or at least he was briefly. Goodness me, this has suddenly got a lot more exciting. I'm going to look back on the stream actually to see when Talviti dropped back. I think he's just been gradually dropping. Well, this is very interesting. Yeah, it looks like he just gradually dropped. I don't see any lap where he lost too much time. There was one where he lost about 7/10 or so, but still. I don't think he did have a spin. I think Johnson has just been reeling him in, and Talviti's been taking it a bit easier than at the start, for whatever reason. And we have a proper fight in our hands for P1 now, between two Porsches. This is clearly a Porsche style circuit. I expected it would be. It's very fast, a lot of heavy acceleration zones. Oh, John Van der Geest has just swapped back with Michal Mazurek there. They're still fighting over 8th place, still side by side. Van der Geest on the outside. And they get away with it. Mazurek back on the inside now. Flames almost spitting from underneath the car. I don't think that is flames, but it almost looked like it. And still there. Goodness me, they're still side by side. They've been this way for maybe 20 or so seconds. Van der Geest on the inside. Mazurek slightly wider, but look what direction the next corner's in. It's in Mazurek's favour, and they touch. Van der Geest had to turn into the corner. Touched Mazurek and runs wider. So Mazurek keeps 8th place as Van der Geest drops back. My apologies. Back to the leaders, there you see them. Two Porsches who might well swap when the pit stages come into play. Max Shepard catching Labioda. I'm going to sneeze again. Any second now. And towards the final corner, she's getting a good run. Needs to focus on the exit better than the entry though, due to the nature of that first corner and the straight that immediately follows it. Side by side, not quite, very nearly. Not too many scraps going on inside the top 10 right now. Van der Geest has managed to get the gap down again to Mazurek, so looks like that scrap is not over, even though they've come together twice already. Again, sorry about my dog. There's not really much I can do about him, I'm afraid. Indeed, yeah, the gap has come down to less than a second between Mazurek and Van der Geest. You'll be able to see them just ahead on the road in a second, I expect. But these two, Lebioda and Shepard, are a lot closer together. In both cases, it's an Alpha being hassled. And that Alpha seems to be struggling almost as much today as at other circuits. I was very impressed by Lebioda's start. But, of course, then he made that mistake and just hasn't really been able to come through. He's now under serious pressure from Shepard behind. Of course, the pit window is going to open pretty soon. There's no official pit window, so you can come in at any time, but realistically it's going to open soon, maybe now. And some of these drivers in battles will be trying to undercut or overcut their opponents. Csaba Lacko is within a second of Lorenzo Galizzi. That's important. It looked to be going so well for Galizzi until Lons made that double overtake. Here goes Shepard. And talking of overtakes, wider goes Lebioda, but he's going to get a good exit. And the next corner is a left-hander, as Van der Geest there has passed Mazurek just up ahead of them. Looks like Shepard's just going to get ahead towards before the corner, but Lebioda coming back at him. Coming back at it. Very well done. Lebioda keeps the place. Great defense from Lebioda there. Very good driving. Shepard on the exit, touches the curb slightly to the outside. That's not really a place you can pull a move, I'm afraid. What about Mazurek and Van der Geest? Of course, we saw that Van der Geest got past his rival early this lap, but Mazurek still pretty much stuck to the tail of him in that number 8 Alpha, and they're fighting over number 8 in the order. As you see, Lebioda and Shepard still fighting there in the background as they fly through the S's. I'm not sure if those S's have corner names. Let me see if I can look them up. I don't know if I'll be able to pronounce them if they're particularly Polish, but we'll see, I suppose. Sadly, this doesn't appear to be a corner with... Oh wait, I found a map with... Okay, so apparently turn 1 is known as the Big Pan. I suppose because it's big and kind of pan-shaped. Shepard, I think, has just got past Lebioda there. Jolly good. Oh my goodness, wow, so turn 2, of course, is a slight kink after Big Pan, but turn 3, which is the tight left-hander that we're just going to approach here, is known as the Devil's Smile. Oh my god. Well, that is a wonderful name for a corner, I must say. I very much approve. Here we go, Devil's Smile bend. Wow. Sinister, challenging, and Shepard has just been caught out slightly. And she won't be smiling too much after that one because Lebioda is back to the inside and back through. So Shepard has all that work to do again, but Lebioda's had another twitch on the exit. And they swapped again. These two going back and forth. If there was milk between them, they'd have churned it up into butter by now. Lacko catching Galizzi. Johnson also catching Taviti ahead as well. other corner names, turn 6, which is the tight hairpin at the top of the hill, is called Small Pan, because it is pretty much adjacent to Big Pan, but is a lot smaller, obviously. Turn 8, which is the right-hander with a lot of curbing on the inside and the outside before the sweeping S's, is known as Tribune. And then you have Oaks, which is the left-hander where I had a big accident in my first race here. And the final corner is known as Radar. That's interesting. Not entirely sure why, but anyway. Sorry, the penultimate corner is known as Radar, and the last turn is known as Last Right. Creatively named. The circuit is 4 kilometers on, 4 kilometers long, 4.1 pretty much. Measured along the roadway apparently. And as I said, it is in Poznan in Poland. As we watch Shabalako still trying to hunt down Lorenzo Galizzi, and Galizzi will be feeling the pressure. Johnson and Talviti a lot closer than they were as well. And briefly, the gap was exactly the same between Talviti and Johnson as it was between Galizzi and Laku. Bit of a coincidence there for you, but it shows you that we have two very similar battles brewing right at the pointy end of the field. And there you see the other one just ahead of this one. That is the fight for the lead. Galizzi there may be fearing slipstream because he pulled over a little to defend from Laku. And they all stay out, so pit stop stages not yet in full effect. And stays in position. No one pitting yet. Oh, Phil Brown is in. Never mind, as soon as I say that. So Brown in from P6, and he is one of the first drivers from the higher end of the order to make a stop. And look at Laku going to the outside of Galizzi. Where does he brake? About the same time, but Galizzi has the inside line. So Galizzi keeps third, and Laku gets over the grass on the exit, spoiling any potential chances that he would have had of making a comeback. But anyway. Slightly wider there with Galizzi. As we approach the halfway point in this race. And the fight's still very much on, not only for the race but for the championship itself, with Galizzi defending for his life from Laku there, almost cutting the corner, but it's okay. So, as Galizzi runs wide, Shabalako with a run on the exit, and he would have ideally hoped for that to have been out of the final corner, but that's held them both up as a result. And into the pits comes Johnson. So Johnson, one of the first top three to pit. That puts Galizzi briefly into second and Laku to third. Let's see if Johnson gets any clean air. This could be important in the race for the win, because if he gets clean air and a fast outlap, he might well be able to jump Talviti, especially if Talviti's tyres are a bit older. But I was going to say, before the real pit stop stages, the order was Talviti, Johnson, Galizzi, don't know why I say Galile, Laku, Gutierrez, Brown, Lons, Van der Geest, Shepard, Labioda, and Drake, the top 10 potentially. So we'll see how or if that changes throughout the pit stop window. the pit stop cycle. So, into the second half of the race we go. Still a fight going on for what will eventually be third position. It's second for the time being. Brian's just passed Drake, I think, so making a place back after his stop. Sorry for bashing the table a bit. My mistake. I will try to stop doing that. Now, do either of these two drivers pit on this lap, and if so, how does it affect them? Van der Geest side by side with Johnson. Van der Geest has got past Johnson, so Johnson's tyres may be taking a little while to get up to speed, and that means that Talviti will probably still lead this race after his stop, especially now that Van der Geest might well hold up Johnson a little. Lacko is in the pits, so I was expecting one of those drivers to come in that time around, and it's Shaba Lacko. And maybe that the overcut is more effective than the undercut here, because a lot of the drivers were pitting a lot later than I expected, and as Johnson does go side by side with Van der Geest there, back up the inside, and back through, but that has definitely cost him time, and probably cost him a chance to get the lead here. He'll be maybe 1 or 2 seconds behind Talviti at the end of this. But anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought, but whatever the case. Ah yeah, overcut. Yeah, especially considering Van der Geest just passed Johnson there. I think that very much shows us that being on slightly older but warmer tyres is better than being on completely unscrubbed, you know, sticker tyres as they would call them in IMSA racing, because it takes them so long to get up to temperature. Through the middle part of the track. Now, when does Talviti come in? Is it this lap, or does he leave it out as late as possible to maximise his use of these warmer tyres? But he stays out for another lap and keeps going. 154, not bad at all. Galuzzi stays out for another lap as well. Let's watch Galuzzi for a bit. He's been a little unlucky in this race because he's done pretty much all that he needs to do, and if he loses the championship, it will probably be because of where Lons finishes. Lons in the pits right now, actually, as Mark Johnson sets fastest lap, so obviously his tyres have come of age, and he may, at that rate, he may still be able to jump Talviti. We'll see. John Manigie's also in the pits there. Lons comes out in clean air, that's important for him, but Phil Brown in the background, so Lons needs to make sure that he gets his tyres up to temperature quick enough. But yeah, I'm interested by that last lap from Lons. That was very, very quick, and if he can do that again this next time around, maybe, just maybe, he will still be able to jump Tony Talviti. Paul Anstey's in the pits as well, although he's a long way down after his incidents in the early stages. And we have 24 minutes of this race to go. I would be very surprised if any of these drivers in the top part of the field leave it to 20 minutes to go before making their stop. But I've been surprised before, and sim racing, and racing in particular, is always unpredictable. So again, we shall see. Also, I've just seen confirmation from Stefan Lagodin that Jonzo is indeed Mark Johnson, so I was right about that. Tony Talviti finally into the pits, hits his marks. Galuzzi also in. Does he hit his marks? It's easy to overshoot. I think he's got it spot on there. He was trailing the brakes a little. May cost him half a second or so, but it's okay. Now, where is Johnson in relation to Talviti? There he is. Talviti coming out the pits. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. Johnson is on the outside. They're side by side. Does he sweep through into the lead? This is his best chance of the day. And he does it. So Mark Johnson, despite being passed by Van der Geest, has taken advantage of pitting earlier. He's pushed and he's pushed. Talviti almost took a look back at him there. But Mark Johnson has taken the lead of the race. Are we going to see a 6th different winner from 6 races? Wouldn't that be something? That would be quite a result for this this championship. It really would. Mark Johnson, another one of those drivers who has made every round of the season. He's 5th overall in the championship, and this will really boost him up the order. Of course, he can't win it, but it will boost him up the order nonetheless. Probably ahead of Kirilov, who isn't here. Shabalako maybe, depending on where Lako finishes, but he's still running in what will effectively be 2nd or 3rd position, depending on how it goes. Especially with Johnny Gutierrez yet to make his stop. I use the phrase "we shall see" a lot, but in sim racing that's what you gotta do sometimes. Just sit and wait and see how it plans out. Now, can Talviti do anything about getting back at Johnson for that? He won't want to take it lying down, especially after he took pole and then led so much of this race. And he's not in a fight for the championship due to missing 2 rounds, but still. In terms of the championship, as I already said, Laurent Lons is leading it and is currently in championship winning position. 2nd in the championship coming into this round was Lorenzo Galuzzi. Then outside shots of the title were Kiro Kirilov or Shaba Lako, although I don't think Lako can win it, judging by how many cars have turned up today. All 17 still running though, that's good to see. Mark Johnson is 5th in the championship, John Van der Geest is 6th, then it's Tony Talviti having missed 2 rounds, Kimi Martikainen, Jeffrey Ruskas having missed 2 rounds, and then Michal Majorek is 10th in that. Would have been interesting to see what drivers like Ted Ho or Kiro Kirilov could have done had they made the full season, but you know, sadly they didn't, and probably cost both of those drivers a shot of the title. But things like that happen in sim racing. I think Ted Ho has probably been my driver of the season. Maybe on par with Jeffrey Ruskas, but it's close between the 2 of them. Jeffrey Ruskas has the best qualifying result, or the best average quali of anyone in the field. 2 poles from 3 races. And I think Johnson just made a slight mistake there through the penultimate corner. Yeah, he did. Still in the lead though, Johnny Gutierrez in the pits. Where does he come out in relation to Lakkinen? Does the undercut work again? I'm more interested right now in seeing what Talviti does. He sets the fastest lap of the race. So this is not over yet. Right, now what does Gutierrez do? He's in the pits, Lako goes through, so Lako is going to take 3rd place. In fact, Lebioda is going to be 4th. Wow. Now Lebioda hasn't stopped yet, I think. Neither has Lons, but both of them have gone through. But yeah, Gutierrez is still in the pits. That was a much longer stop than I expected, and he's going to be behind Phil Brown after all of this. And that is for position. And that's potentially for position 2 with Majorek. So Gutierrez there losing a lot of time in the pits. More than most. Maybe he refueled. Side by side with Max Shepard. Mac on the outside, Gutierrez on the inside. And Shepherd goes for a switchback, knows better than to try to wrestle the corner off him. They almost touch on the exit there, but they keep it under control. Talviti now back within a tenth of a second of Johnson. He's been there pretty much this whole lap so far. And Galuzzi and Lons are together on the road. Now Lons has not yet stopped, so this isn't for position. However, you bet that Lons is not going to want to give this up to Galuzzi easily. And Lons is the last driver that Galuzzi would want to see in front of him right now. Can he get through? Will it be clean? Will Lons pit? It's wide in the background goes Brown. Big slide from Brown. Very good save as well. Has to run it across the road in order to keep control of it. But it does it masterfully. And does indeed keep control. Down the straight again. Johnson and Talviti are absolutely locked together, goodness me. I don't want to miss anything here, but also the Lons Galuzzi battle is so important. Oh, Johnson dips a wheel into the grass. Talviti was almost there actually, almost alongside him. Johnson has 17 minutes to hold off Talviti if he's going to win this race and become a 6th winner from 6 rounds. Wouldn't that be impressive? Talviti would be the only driver to win 2 if he wins it today. Shabalako would also be our 6th different winner if he was to win. And we have just over 16.5 minutes left to decide it, plus the rest of whatever lap that they happen to be on when the checkered flag comes out. It really does depend. So, 60 minutes to go. Johnson leads from Talviti. Lacco, Lebioda yet to stop. Lons yet to stop. Galuzzi right behind him. Then Brown, Drake, Mazurek and Gutierrez. Not the effective order since a lot of those drivers still need to stop. But the battle's going on at the minute. You've got this one for the lead. Gutierrez and Mazurek are side by side. Mazurek going wide on the exit. Gutierrez coming through as he almost going 3 wide with Max Shepherd. He's coming around the outside. John van der Gies getting involved as well. So cracking scrap going on for the lower positions in the top 10. Lebioda finally pits, so that puts Lons and Galuzzi up to 4th and 5th in the overall order now. Do Mazurek and van der Gies make it through cleanly? I think they do. Sid Drake also into the pits, so all of these drivers are about to move up another place, or 2. 2 indeed. So they're now all in the top 10, and this becomes the scrap for P7. I think for position, I'm fairly sure that all of these drivers have stopped, but really I'm not sure at all. Side by side, Mazurek and van der Gies again. Need to make sure they don't come together again. They have done a couple of times in this race so far. Mazurek on the inside, van der Gies trying to go all the way around the long route. And might just make it actually. That was really good driving from van der Gies there. Loads of traction on the exit, that was fantastic, well done. Mazurek trying to come back at him, but yeah, that was a really, really good move from van der Gies. Locks up slightly. Mazurek sees it happen. Takes a little look. But yeah, he's not close enough. So 14 minutes to go. When will Lons pit and where will he come out? He is trying to hold up Galuzzi for all he's worth here. This is really good driving from Laurent Lons. Especially as far as the championship conditions are going. Here are the leaders again as well. Johnson and Talviti, the gap is remaining pretty much as it was. Number 2 following the number 3. Talviti, car number 2 in spot number 2, but doesn't want to stay there as much as I'm sure he will appreciate the correlation. Johnson still has the lead, but by just a second. Depends which subsector you're going through, but most of the time, yeah, just a second between them. Slight lock-up from Talviti, gets slightly closer on the entry, drops back on the exit. As would be expected, it's like an accordion effect when cars are following each other like this. Drake apparently is just past Lebioda, and that's because Lebioda's had another off there. That's at turn 1. He's been quite away off the course, and he's going to return in P12. Really not having a good day, I'm afraid. But I do want to keep watching these leaders, I don't want to miss anything, because this is a wonderful battle. Johnson and Talviti. And when Talviti built up 4 seconds in the opening 4 or 5 laps of this race, I'm sure he was expecting this to be much easier than it's ended up being. But Johnson has fought, and he's giving Tony a run for his money. And takes a look to the inside, does Talviti. Johnson has to leave him the space into turn 1. Talviti still there on the inside, but Johnson still running around the outside with all the traction he can muster. And he's still going to be there as they head towards a left-hander. This is Johnson's corner. Surely Talviti will have to concede this one and go for another one in a few corners' time. He does. So Johnson still maintains the lead. This is amazing defense from the Bumblebee-esque Porsche in a Porsche versus Porsche race on a very Porsche-ish circuit in Tor Poznan? That doesn't work, I'm so sorry. Poznan anyway, is what I meant. I think we may have lost Jari Lakkinen. He's been in the pits for a while. Down to the bottom of the field, I'm afraid. Even if he does make it back out, it's going to be difficult to score significant points. Of course, everyone who does finish this race will score points, as points go down to 23rd, and there's only 17 cars. In fact, everyone who starts this race will score points, but, you know, he would be hoping for more than just those that come from P17. We're almost into the single digits in terms of minutes left now. And Talviti only has just over 10 minutes to get the lead back that he held so comfortably in the early stages. In terms of the championship fight, I'm really starting to wonder whether Lons did pit and I didn't see it. I don't think he did. My sincerest apologies if I have missed something, but I don't think I have done. And the side-by-side for the lead. Talviti is alongside Johnson again. He's on the outside again, so Johnson knows this line. He knows what he has to do to hold off Talviti, and he does it. Doesn't twitch it out too much on the exit. They're about to catch and lap pull up him. Yeah, Johnson knew exactly what he needed to do to fend off that attack there, and did it well. As of course he would. Yeah, I'm currently looking back through the race to see if Lons did pit. I'm pretty sure he didn't, because he's still got to do that, surely. I don't know why he's left it quite this late. Probably to keep trying to hold up Galizzi, but he still has to make that stop. So 8.5 minutes to go in this race now. Still the battle for the lead rages. Still Lons and Galuzzi are right together on the track behind. Fighting for the championship pretty much, depending on where Lons is going to end up. Still, we have... Oh, and Talviti's just gone through on the straight. So Talviti takes the lead. Sorry, I didn't see that sooner. I was looking down again. But Talviti has gone through on the straight, got a better exit than Johnson. And has retaken the lead. So, Tony Talviti, is he going to be the second or the first driver to take 2 wins, the only driver to take 2 wins in this series? And show everyone that if he'd made the full season, he may have won the championship. It's looking likely right now. Johnson will be trying to come back at him if he can. A couple of drivers setting their fastest, their personal best laps further back in the order. John Van der Geest and I think Johnny Gutierrez just set their personal bests. And that will probably be because at this point in the race they will be running quite low on fuel compared to at the start, so the cars will be a lot lighter and therefore go a lot faster unless your tyres are worn. Bump, bump, bump through the grass goes Talviti. It keeps it under control. Now, how will this traffic play into their hands? Will Upham get out of the way quickly, or will it bunch them even closer in? We shall see it very, very shortly. They're not catching humongously quickly on Upham, but it's pretty clear he's going to get lapped fairly shortly. 6 minutes to go, just over, as we cross the line this time around. And then, of course, they will be able to finish the lap they're on before seeing the checkered, and that will be the end of the race. Talviti leads from Johnson, but it's close. Lackinen, Lons and Galuzzi. Lons and Galuzzi still close, still fighting. And I'm seriously beginning to doubt myself, whether I did just miss Lons pitting or something. Or whether he's going to come in super late. Lons did pit! Oh my god, I'm so sorry that I missed that. Lons did pit. So how has he jumped out of Galuzzi? I didn't quite understand that. Galuzzi lost a lot of time to both Lacko and Lons, and that means that this is for position, and Lons has almost definitely won the championship. Unless something goes horribly wrong with Lons now. Yeah, sorry I missed that, goodness me. I haven't watched Lons come out the pits. Just had to scroll back through through the stream to see that, but yeah, that's an embarrassing mistake. Anyway, whatever's happened, Lons is ahead of Galuzzi, fairly and squarely, and he is heading to the championship at this rate. Although, yeah, they are indeed still very close on the track. Johnson's still very close with Talviti as well. Which of these two scraps is going to change? If not both, or neither. I suppose which is going to change first if you think if you think they're both going to change. Johnson versus Talviti, or Lons versus Galuzzi. I think it's hard to tell. I'm going to say Lons versus Galuzzi, but yeah, it's very, very difficult to tell. And there's not really much to choose between them. Well, now there is, because Galuzzi has seemed to have lost about a second on that last lap from Lons. That's interesting. Don't know exactly why that happened, but anyway. Looks as if the order might just stay the same, unless Johnson can pull something out of the bag here in the late stages, this is going to be so close. And this is a very fitting way to end the series. This race has really summed up what the series has been. Tension, drivers following each other closely, the occasional overtake, bit of contact, bit of chaos at the start, but ultimately a very fun day of racing for all the drivers. Galuzzi may be a bit frustrated, although he's still driven a pretty good race today and shouldn't be too hard on himself after all of these. And of course P2 in a championship where that many people have made every race is really not a bad effort at all. Let me count how many people have made every race actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people have made every race of this season. That is actually quite impressive. The point system of this season, of course, rewards attendance. It rewards race wins as well and good results, but primarily it rewards attendance. So it's great to see so many drivers doing the full thing, and 2 of them are fighting for the championship today. Only one of these 2 fighting for the win is one of those drivers, and that is Mark Johnson. But Talviti has still been valuable for the series. He's been in and out, missed 2 races, but left his mark when he was here. 1 win, 1 pole, 2 podiums. Average quali result of 4.67th. And I think the next lap is going to be the last one. So the next lap is going to be the last opportunity for Johnson to have a swipe at Talviti and take the lead of the race. Maybe down into turn 1. There are some other overtaking opportunities later on in the lap, but they're tougher and they usually require your opponent to make a mistake. Looks like 16 cars are going to finish because Lackinen still isn't out of the pits and probably won't be. But 16 out of 17 starters isn't a bad tally whatsoever. Through the last turn of the penultimate lap and on to the last lap of the race. What is the gap? As they cross the line, it's about 0.6 of a second. So we do have a fight for the lead on the last lap of the race. It's the same one that's been going on for most of the second half. And this is going to go right to the flag here. Can Johnson do anything? One of his main overtaking opportunities has already gone, being the move into turn 1. And there's another one gone, Devil's Smile. But it's not over yet. Talviti could still make a mistake. Johnson could still launch one in a clever way. We shall see. Less than half a second between them now. It's getting closer and closer. Johnson is really pushing. He knows that this is his last attempt to win this race. And he knows it is going to be very, very difficult to do so. About half of the lap done by this stage. Half of the lap still to go if you're an optimist. Across the kart race start finish line into the sweepers. There's Oaks, turn 10. And I think that Tony Talviti, he locked up slightly, he ran slightly wide. Goodness, that made my heart race. Final lap. You don't want to be making slight errors like that. But anyway, Tony Talviti is still going to win this race. Here is the final corner. And Tony Talviti, who really had to fight for this with Mark Johnson, wins in Poznan by less than half a second. Fantastic race. Johnson is P2. Shabalaka is going to be P3. But let's look at our champion, having not won a single race this season, his consistency is going to do him enough to bring him that result. Laurent Lons crosses the line in 4th place and takes the championship. Lorenzo Galizzi is P5. Phil Brown is going to be P6. And now we also have a fight for P7 here, Gutierrez and Shepard. Gutierrez is going to hold on from Shepard. There you go, across the line. And let's switch back to John Vandegeest, P7. Michal Mazurek will round out the top 10. Although, of course, points don't just go down to 10th place in this series. I thought he was going to smash into the pit wall then. I was holding my breath like, what is he doing? But anyway, Sid Drake will be P11. I think that might be his best result of the series, unless I'm very much mistaken. Sorry if I am. Paul Anstey is going to be P12. And that's going to be Mariusz Lebioda, who was so impressive in the early stages, but threw it away, I'm afraid. P13. Kimi Matikainen, we didn't see much of him today, I'm afraid, but he is going to be P14 nonetheless. And props to him for making every race of this series. It's been great to have them. Big slide, that is the way you finish a championship in a car like that. And the last car to cross the line is going to be Maxime Tendil. Oh, as Matikainen's going to have a big post-finish line crash. And Tendil rounds out the top 15. So, the order: Talviti, Johnson, Lacko, Lons, Galizzi, Brown, Gutierrez, Shepard, Vandegeest, Mazurek, Drake, Anstey, Lebioda, Matikainen, Tendil, and then Paul Upham running out the finishers. And our only retirement was Jari Lakkinen. Let's see what the finishing gap was in the end. 0.460 tenths of a second, or 0.460 seconds, I suppose you would say. Less than half a tenth of a second in it. That was a fantastically close finish. And there wasn't really much going on in the middle stages of the race, but my goodness, did that ending make it worth waiting for. And yeah, fantastic race, fantastic championship as well. I'd like to say thank you to John Vandegeest for hiring me to do this league, and thank you to everyone as well who made it possible by racing and supporting SimRacingOnline. If you do want to get involved with SimRacingOnline, you can just head to simracingonline.co.uk and you can sign up for one of the many championships that we have on offer here. We have championships in Assetto Corsa, Assetto Corsa Competizioni, R-Factor 2, Project Cars 2, R-Factor 1, Automobilista. In the past we've also done Race 07, potentially some other other simulators as well. It's really just whatever's on the site you can sign up for. It's completely free. The only thing you may have to pay for are DLCs if they are appropriate. But yeah, it's completely free. You don't even need to find a team. You can sign up as a privateer, so it's wonderful for beginners and for people with less time to practice and things like that. But anyway, yeah, great league, very, very enjoyable, and I am upset that it's over. But anyway, thank you all for watching, both today and all season long. And I will see you in the next series, whatever that may be. So for now,